Welcome, everybody, to another week of Want Anything from the Shop. Joining me, as always, is Mandy Sham, my co-host, and
Hey.
hey, Mandy. And my name is Raymond, and we got lots to cover this week, so let's get started. In
Yeah.
movie news, we got news or rumors. We're not
Oh, we
sure.
got we got news and movie news. Great.
Great, just like every week. This is how it works, guys. Big Trouble in Little China, starring The Rock. He's gonna also produce the remake. It
Honestly, I
originally
think
starred Kurt Russell, right?
yes, yeah, that's right. But then, I mean, Big Trouble in Little China, as not everyone may know, is quite well known for its boom movie virtuosicness.
Okay, so a guy actually explodes like in a very dramatic fashion, doesn't he?
Well, you can't don't spoil the movie for people who
It's
haven't
been
seen
like
it.
decades. Come on.
Well, people still haven't seen it, and it's important. It's a very important movie.
Sure.
So important that I don't think any sort of remake would ever do it justice. And I think a lot of people are actually quite very. They feel that they have polarized views on this. I know I would.
I've never actually seen the movie, but apparently I know like a lot about like how it ends and stuff already. So
The cultishness of the movie, you mean?
I just want people to just feel what I feel because it sucks to get things spoiled, but at the same time, yeah.
I see. Well, it's a good movie. It's actually a great movie, but I don't know how I feel necessarily about the remake.
You don't like The Rock, do you?
No, he's. I don't like or hate him. It's just why would you make this movie again? There's absolutely no need for it. There's
Exactly.
absolutely zero need to remake this movie. I don't understand.
Well, regardless or whatever, you're gonna get it, and I'm gonna really.
Unfortunately.
I don't like Kurt Russell as an actor actually, but
Mm.
I wouldn't mind seeing The Rock. He's good. He's a nice guy.
It's just, what is this going to be? Big Trouble in Little Mexico? I
I don't even know what background The Rock is, but
don't know either, but it's not Chinese.
I want to see The Rock just play an Asian person. That would blow my mind.
I think I'm assuming that what he's going to do is be the Kurt Russell of the
Yeah,
remake,
yeah, I think so.
which is going to be interesting, but at the same time, unnecessary almost.
It's very unnecessary. But he seems happy about it. So moving
True.
on, as we called it a few weeks ago, Eddie Redmayne is now confirmed to play Scamander, or whatever his name is, the main guy
Uh,
from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the Harry Potter spin-off.
mhm.
Moving on, Transformers has two new writers. Moving on
Mhm.
again, we have a new
Mhm.
trailer for Mistress America, the new Noah Baumbach film starring Greta Gerwig, who you might know from Frances Ha. It
Right.
looks great. Looks so good.
Hopefully it will be.
Yeah. And also we got
Moving
an,
on.
and also we got a new trailer for The Good Dinosaur, the new Pixar film that comes after Inside Out. It has been having a lot of production issues by switching into new directors, new writers constantly. At one point, they managed to scrap a lot of the original script and start
Mhm.
fresh. It looks a bit disappointing to me because it kind of looks like Ice Age, but with kind of like a, well, obviously a Pixar vibe. And this basically tells us the classic story of a boy and the dog, kind of, but the dog is the boy and the boy is the dinosaur. It's what would happen if the dinosaurs didn't get wiped out by that meteor millions of years ago.
I see.
What do you think?
Honestly, the premise sounds a bit stupid. But I don't know. Maybe it is Pixar. You said, right?
Yeah.
Right. So maybe it'll be passable. They do have a tendency to like start off with very not original. I mean, bland premises or uninteresting premises or strange ones, and then make something good out of them.
The trailer itself looks great, just like when people first saw the trailer for Brave. But remembering Brave, that wasn't a good movie. So I'm just
Quite
a bit.
an underwhelming one. Yeah.
Well, I really didn't like that movie, but basically with Brave, the same thing happened. They had a director who originally was very passionate about the project, and then they switched halfway into production, and that's the result. There are just too many cooks, just like
Um,
Transformers.
yeah. The train has been derailed. We need the perfect person to bring it back on track.
We need the director of.
Bring it back on track.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
So Disney has announced they're going to make a live-action feature film called Night on Bald Mountain, which is a composition by Mussorgsky,
Hmm.
rearranged by Leopold Stokowski. Have you
Oh,
ever
look at all these
seen?
Russian people.
Have you ever seen that before?
I have not.
Okay, it's basically a devil creature rising in the nighttime and throwing these little ghouls into hell or whatever. And then at when the sun rises, he turns back into a mountain by covering his wings together. It's
I
interesting,
see.
but I don't see how they could make a full-length feature of this. It's kind of like a one-shot short to me.
Then again, there's a lot of things out currently that have very simple premises that are done well.
But like Mad Max.
Right, so it's not completely out of the question that it would be good.
Hmm. But I don't know if at some point someone makes a Gargoyles movie, that would be something I would want to look into. But at this time, it's not looking that good for. I can't see what they can possibly do with such a premise.
That's understandable, but you never know. I guess we'll find out.
I guess we'll find out. Something else we'll
Hmm.
find out in the near future is
Hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2. James Gunn just posted on Twitter and on Periscope that he just finished his first draft of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and he invited Chris Pratt over to his house. He went over the beats with Pratt, and then at the end of it, Chris Pratt started to weep like a little baby, according to James Gunn.
I am quite sure that is for hyperbole, but
No, he actually said that on Periscope. And
I
Chris
know,
Pratt
and I'm pretty
confirmed
sure
it.
he meant it as hyperbole.
I'm pretty sure Chris Pratt was not.
Did he confirm publicly?
He
Yes.
did.
As James Gunn mentioned on Periscope the other day, I did in fact weep like a baby.
That's exactly what happened. But like Chris Pratt said, he cried first, like passionate tears, and then
But he didn't say passionate tears, did he?
he said
Nor
tears.
did he say nor did he say he wept like a baby.
James Gunn said he wept like a baby.
So he right, but he didn't weep like a baby, did he? There are many variations of crying.
Fine, there's no real baby. It's just a metaphorical baby for Chris Pratt. All right.
What are you? Are you procreation?
Yes, babies are cool unless they hit you over the head with the etch a sketch.
That sounds very specific. But anyway, yeah. So onwards. So Chris Pratt cried, assuming that the new sequel is going to be excellent.
It's more of a father-son story, according to Chris Pratt and James Gunn and Marvel, and it's
That's
gonna
quite
focus.
amazing, considering that they set the exposition for that in the first film.
And also, it's gonna be way less characters than the first one to worry about, and it's more of
Mhm.
a focused story. James Gunn took a lot of criticisms from the first one and really made this script as polished as he can be for now. And according to his pitch at Marvel, Marvel said it was very risky, but they gave him a green light to go ahead with whatever he's going to do. And he has
Mhm.
no constraints on it, unlike a recent Marvel film that we just saw, which had lots of constraints on the director and writer.
Mhm.
This is going to be exciting. People are excited.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm excited.
Okay, on to DC
Okay.
news.
Mhm.
James Wan is officially going to direct the Aquaman movie starring Jason Momoa, and also he's going to direct Robotech, which is an anime mech anime.
Oh no. No, 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 no.
After James Wan goes ahead and finishes shooting The Conjuring 2, The Enfield Experiments. Now he's known for his horror franchises like Saw, Insidious, and whatever something else he worked on. He also did Furious 7, which looks great, and I think this is going to be as interesting as it can be for Aquaman film because people don't seem to like Aquaman as a character throughout the years.
Yeah. I actually don't know anything about Aquaman, but I think I'd be the kind of person who also doesn't like him.
He's the king of Atlantis. He rules the seven seas.
Oh, wow.
He can
Poseidon's
ride
hurt.
he can ride on dolphins or whatever.
That's honestly bestiality is not okay, but
He he can he can call on his super sea friends during his fight and be like, "Yo, just sick on this guy while I
I
ride my
see.
dolphin."
I see.
There's Rogue Nation. It's pretty much an expansion of the first Mission Impossible Rogue Nation trailer with lots more, I don't know, extended sequences of the stunts. We get to see Tom Cruise on a plane some more. He's actually riding on top of that plane. That plane, feeling so good. He's also going to jump into water or something.
Mm.
Do you know Jennifer Kent?
No, please explain.
She directed one of the most talked about horror films last year in The Babadook, and she's contacted to direct the adaptation to Alice plus Frida, which is a true crime murder love story. That's all I know because I didn't want to
But what
read too much
is
into
true
it.
crime?
It's crime that
Ooh.
actually happened.
Oh,
Oh,
so deep. But how do you know if crime actually happened?
I don't
How do
know.
we measure crime as a word
We measure it with a ruler of crime.
Yes,
A ruler of
I also think the metric system has yet to fail us in that regard. So, right, so Alice and Frida. Is it Alice plus Frida or Alice and Frida?
Oh, maybe it's like you know that adaptation of Romeo and Juliet where it's just a plus between them and it's just called Romeo plus Juliet, but it's
No,
Romeo and
that's really
Juliet.
stupid. Okay,
So it's Alice and Frida, I guess.
sure.
It's getting
Okay.
some lukewarm reviews on Amazon as far as the book is concerned. But
I see.
you know, I'm excited about Kent. I think she's a very talented director.
Mm.
Another thing that got released this week is the trailer for the new Steven Spielberg film starring Tom Hanks. It's a Cold War spy thriller. It's called Bridge of Spies, and it looks pretty intense. It's also written by Matt Charman and the Coen brothers.
Mm. Yes, I'm actually quite interested in this because of Tom Hanks and the Coen brothers writing the script.
Yeah, but like the Coen brothers are sometimes hit or miss, and same thing with Spielberg. He's sometimes hit or miss for me.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
But Tom Hanks is undoubtedly always awesome. So there's
Consistent,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. It's exciting.
I'm really just looking to how he's going to interpret a script written at least partially by the Coen brothers.
He's been in a Coen Brothers movie before, albeit the worst one in the bunch.
One that I haven't seen in that case.
Yeah, The Lady Killers wasn't that good. But hopefully he can bounce off of whatever he's learned from Coen Brothers and Spielberg and make up for his terrible performance in The Lady Killers, and same thing with the Coen Brothers, make up for their terrible script. With that being said, let's move on to TV news for the week.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got confirmation on a radio show that Arrested Development is moving forward with a new season set for 2016. This was actually news because apparently no one knew that Arrested Development was actually going to continue, and it was too obvious, and this is stupid.
Right.
Also, Degrassi is going to end on July 31st. For all those diehard Degrassi fans, sorry.
Have you ever seen The Appeal in Degrassi?
No, I've seen clips of it. It just looks very
aggressively prepubescent.
Yeah, it just looks.
Yeah, I would agree.
So stupid.
I think there's a time in your life where it would really be enjoyable to an extent. Also because it is from Toronto.
Yeah, and also, well, it has like over 300 episodes, so I'm assuming that it's getting a lot of things right, and people love it for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think.
But they keep changing, like they keep adding new characters. I just almost feel like it's the kind of show that you would grow up with, or just not be interested in at all.
Yeah, it feels like it's soap opera because characters die on screen, and then new ones are brought in, and then there's all this humor mixed into it. It's weird.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you see the trailer for 7 Days in Hell?
No, I have not. Hail? Did you just say hail?
In Hell. It was hailing the other day, and it hailed for 7 days. This is a.
Why do you all of a sudden become a hick? Is my question. But go on.
Anyway, the mockumentary is about Kit Harington from Game of Thrones and Andy Samberg. They have this long tennis match, and this is a documentary in the mockumentary about documenting this 7-day.
Hold on, I just need to stop you there. You don't need to say the documentary in the mockumentary because it is in fact a mockumentary.
This is like stuffing a turkey, all right? You gotta keep ingredients inside of each other.
No.
So anyway, it looks.
Just lay off the drugs and continue.
It looks great. It looks great. Okay, you should you should totally check it out.
Okay. I think that's it for TV news, huh?
That's pretty much. Nothing happened on TV. TV news is always
Right.
boring. Break
Yeah.
time. What have you been doing?
What have I been doing?
Yeah.
That's a very big question. Because for the past, let's see, 15 minutes or so, I've been talking to you.
Okay, well, I've
So please specify. Oh, or just go into a long tangent about what you've been doing.
sure, I'll do that because I love to talk about my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the premiere of Hannibal the other night, and it was fucking amazing. It was so good.
Not just
Can't
amazing, fucking amazing.
fucking amazing. You gotta. I can't wait until you get into season 3. It's just so good. I also watched San Andreas starring The Rock. It's like currently #1 or something in the box office. So
It's
I
like
guess
a kidnapping story.
sure. Well, he kidnaps his own family, and then he saves his own family after kidnapping them.
Oh,
And meanwhile, there's this giant earthquake that we're supposed to care about, but we don't really. There are lots of moments in this movie where Paul Giamatti is just like staring out at a window or something or an earthquake, and he just says, "Oh my god!" and he gets hit by something. It's not that good, but it's not as bad as you think.
I see.
Yeah,
So that's San Andreas.
That's San Andreas.
You've also seen Spy starring Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, you gotta see Spy, and because I want to talk about it, you know.
Oh, I see. Yeah, maybe there's a possibility.
I
There's
had
a
to do some
possibility of
hard.
me. I might have to persuade someone to buy me a ticket because I might not want to spend it on my own. But just not because I doubt that it's a bad movie, but because I just don't want to pay to see Melissa McCarthy. Oh, I'm such a terrible person. It's just that the stuff that she's been in has consistently been bad.
I thought the same thing, but I was very surprised and shocked how great she was in this movie. And I'm a Melissa McCarthy fan now, apparently.
Okay.
I didn't really love her before, but this really changed my mind.
So it's not the same humor as you'd find in something like Bridesmaids or The Heat?
It is by the same director, but he gets to write this movie this time around, so it's very similar to Phil Lord and Chris Miller and what they did for the 21 Jump Street movies.
I see.
Yeah, if you like that, you'll really love this, like I did.
Mm-hmm. So they're trying to get into the meta humor club now.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a huge parody of the spy genre. I think it's the best spy movie since The Kingsman, and that's saying a lot.
Which actually wasn't quite long ago. And have there been spy movies since Kingsman? Just out of curiosity, because I don't think so.
No, there's only been 2.
Right, so you don't really have a lot of comparisons to draw from.
No competitions. So let's go back to Mandy. What have you been watching?
I have been watching Kung Fury. All 30 minutes of it. But aside from that, I really haven't been seeing much lately. Aside from Mad Men and a continuation of the 70s show, which I'm slowly going at.
Okay, that's
chipping
good.
away with my hammer. But Netflix is quite good. It is basically what I will use to sum up how my weekend has been.
Have you seen Sense8 yet?
No, but I actually heard about Sense8. Okay. It's on my list, but I don't know if it's something that I'd actually end up seeing because I don't know too much about it, aside from the fact that it's about these telepathic people.
I think from a world-building standpoint, you'll really enjoy Sense8, but everything else is just total garbage. I read a review for it this week.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think if the writing is subpar, I'm not going to end up enjoying it no matter how good the world building is. And there was a prime example of that with Tomorrowland. Nothing can save an awful writing.
That's true. It's not as spectacular looking as Tomorrowland, obviously. But I guess there are like some saving graces with like acting wise, I guess. And I guess like one of the characters I care about out of the 8, which is not saying much. So I only like 1/8 of this series so far.
Right.
I'm not going to stick forward with it. Anyway, moving on to plugs. What have you got to plug?
I've got my website to plug as per usual, which is manateesandmatinees.com, where you can look at movie reviews that I've done. And I haven't done one since Tomorrowland. But I'm working on currently a review for Mad Max and also a review for Wild Tales, which honestly should have been done about a month ago, but I just don't have the time. So, joke's on me. I mean, shameless plug. Shameless plug. Yeah, you?
My shameless plug is the Screen Hub on Tumblr.com. And I got a review up for San Andreas, Hannibal, Spy, Sense8, I guess, if you want to read that. And you can follow me on Twitter at RaymondThang1. Where can you find Mandy?
Where can I find Mandy? Definitely not on LinkedIn. Yay, my career. You can find me
Yay.
on Twitter at that was the most confusing way to lead into Twitter. It's like you can find me at. Wait, so do I add the at or do I say at twice? Anyway, at Mandy Sham. Sham
nice.
as in shambles or ShamWow for clarification. And Mandy as in the Barry Manilow song.
For those who want to follow us on Twitter, it's at Want From The Shop. And we also have a Facebook page on facebook.com/Want Anything From The Shop. We also have someone who helped us put this podcast together. You can follow Lauren on Twitter at lmalik with a Y and a K. And she also did a review for the Exquisite Corpus from Cannes on the Screen Hub, which will all be linked below.
Right, so definitely check that out. Shall we now talk about something very interesting?
What's that? What are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about the YouTube movie Kung Fury.
Okay, before we get into the movie, we'll start with non-spoiler and then spoiler as per usual.
Okay, so starting with the non-spoiler. First, Raymond, I guess, will go ahead with the premise.
It's about a...
Which is going to be a challenge,
which is
why you're doing it.
Okay, Kung Fury is directed by David Sandberg, a Swedish filmmaker. He got this movie started on Kickstarter and got $600,000 US to make this movie, which originally he asked for $200,000. And if only it was $1 million, he would have went off to make this movie into a feature-length one. Mm-hmm. But this is great for what it is.
I definitely actually think that was a great idea of him to shorten the length, even if it was entirely because of the budget. Just because I think it's long enough to properly have a story, and I say that loosely, but it's also short enough where you won't get bored with the whole idea of it because it's so condensed with everything already. I feel like you might be nauseated after more than an hour watching it.
It felt like it was dragging for me at some points.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there were like a million things happening on screen.
Right. I know that's the paradox of movies that are from the 80s and bad.
Yeah, so this story is about a cop who becomes the chosen one, and he goes off to another dimension or something at one point.
Right.
What's even happening?
He's got to kill Hitler, and how he gets his superpowers is a bunch of bizarre things happen to him all at once, and he gains kung fu powers. And as Kung Fury, the chosen one, he must go and protect his homeland from the most evil men in the world. Hold on. Sandberg, is that a Jewish last name?
No, it's Swedish.
Oh, Sandberg, not Sandberg. Okay. Because I was just about to say, maybe it just became a lot more political than it should have been. He was Jewish, which thank God he isn't, I guess.
I don't know, maybe he's like Jewish Swedish. That would have been crazy if that was true somehow.
Yeah. Okay, so now that the premise is over, I guess we can talk about how we feel on this movie.
Yeah, let's talk about our feelings, because this is all about touching our inner demons and expressing ourselves and stuff.
We definitely have to be in touch with our emotions.
Yeah.
Since this movie tends to demand that you release those emotions from within. So basically, for me, I actually went into the movie not really knowing what to expect. I mean, I was sort of expecting that it would be a typical action movie that was just better than usual. But I am actually quite surprised and pleased with the results. Because I don't think that, B movies have always been this sort of culty thing, especially for filmmakers. And I don't think it really reaches a wide audience. So, like, people would watch Big Trouble in Little China, but not a lot of people would appreciate the humor behind it or even want to sit through it. So it's like with a movie like this, you have something that is potentially culty, and yet it's gaining mainstream attention from people, and I'm finding that very interesting.
I feel like it's remaining in the cult realm, though. I don't think this is going into the mainstream, because if you think about like the normal audience, like our friends on Facebook, none of them will probably have heard of this movie. Maybe
really?
Like 2 or 3. Really?
People are actually quite active about talking about it on Reddit.
Well, are
And
those your
Reddit
Facebook
is not
friends?
particularly well. I don't think Facebook is really relevant here because it's depending on the demographic. I honestly like people on Reddit are somewhat film going. I don't think far enough to be part of a cult in terms of movies.
I thought Reddit was a cult, though.
You think so, and then I think people are much more normal than they try to present themselves as. But let's not get too deep into the Reddit psychology. Basically, I think it's a movie that had a very niche target demographic, but actually managed to reach out to more than just that.
I was actually watching this movie with my cousin the other day, and him being an '80s guy, late '80s, early '90s guy, he loved this movie, and I don't really have any love for the '80s. I thought it was a weird decade, even though I never lived it. So I'm kind of disassociated with this movie, and the humor sometimes is really funny. Sometimes it just kind of whatever, it just passes by, and I'm not sure what to really think about this movie. I thought it looked good, but it looked a bit too good to be set in the 80s, you know? It's like overall, I thought it was very well executed. Some
Mm-hmm.
points where the meta portions of this short were great. Some of it was a bit awkward in humor, which I didn't really find funny. The acting was intentionally bad, which I don't find the charm in like whatever it was going for, to be honest.
Okay. It is a safe space here, Raymond, so you won't be judged for that, at least not publicly.
All right, let's go. Let's move on to some spoiler reviews. But first off, would
Sure.
you recommend this to your average moviegoer?
Okay, look. If you smoke weed, then what I recommend that you do is you smoke weed and you turn this movie on and you watch it. And I'm only saying that because it is, by its very nature, a very weed-friendly movie, and this is coming from someone who does not smoke weed. I'm putting that out there as a great, this is going to kill my career. I think I would recommend it to people based solely on the fact that it is 30 minutes, and I don't think there's any harm in watching something so absurd if you're with a group of friends. But if it was feature length, that's completely different because I don't think I would necessarily recommend that kind of niche cult-like movie to just anyone. So this is it's a very specific case because I feel that some people can understand and appreciate the humor enough for me to recommend the movie. But at the same time, it might not necessarily be as good as I'm later going to advocate it as. So I'll just say that.
I would only recommend this movie to the people who are into the 80s culture, and that's about it. Like people that are close to the age of my cousin, my brother, people who've lived through the 80s and seen the B movies that it had to offer, and people who just like other people who are passionate about making a movie that is so, niche and specific to its audience like that. But everything else, if you're looking for something more accessible, I wouldn't say this would be a movie to go to. But there's, like you said, there's no harm in watching 30-minute shorts about
Right, since
a
it's
renegade
non-committal
cop.
to begin with. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. All right,
But
let's move on to some spoiler.
right, let's do that. Okay, spoilers. It's a little. I mean, really, we can't really say much about the movie without. I mean, not much of it is a spoiler. And I
It's
mean
30
that as in,
minutes.
there's nothing about it that's like a particularly important plot point, except for a couple things. Everything else is sort of just icing on the cake. I really enjoyed. I actually lost it when Hitler shot the phone, and then he ended up killing the police commissioner and like everyone else in that office.
Yeah, I didn't think the police commissioner would go down that quickly. I thought he'll be sticking around for the entire movie.
Yeah, and also you just keep seeing these things. There's so much going on in that movie. They've actually, I think, in terms of the target demographic, this movie really understood how to press those buttons. I mean, it really knew its demo. But yeah, things like the Triceratops and the girls, the Nordic girls, Vikings with the guns.
I also enjoyed like how David Sandberg was so macho man sounding in his voice, and
Mm-hmm.
then he's like Hitler. Where have I heard that name before? And then he starts out the movie by sitting down on this couch, and there was this his I guess I would assume is his lover, and then he goes and kicks through like a window and flies past the moon, and we get the title sequence, which I thought
Right.
was kind of fantastic.
Quite a good way to lead into it, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's like you really just don't know what to expect when you first watch the movie. But speaking of David Sandberg, I mean, his face has something wrong with it, probably just for the sake of the movie. It's just imagine how, like, a butthole being clenched, and that's what his mouth looks like.
Okay. So moving on to Hitler. What were you saying about Hitler?
Hitler? He's a terrible person. He's responsible for the death of 6 billion. Wait, 6 million Jews.
6 billion, holy crap.
6 billion Jews.
That's like 3
Why do you
times the
think there's
amount.
like 7 billion people on the earth now? It used to be at least 14.
I like how Hitler was actually the anti-chosen one, and also like Kung Fury didn't understand who Hitler was, and he was like, "I think I've heard of this guy. He's like the worst criminal in the world or something."
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets Hacker Man, who's amazing, by the way.
Oh, I love Hacker Man, yeah.
And they hack into time and then hack back.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's just like explained through hacking, which is that montage itself is, I guess, is pretty awesome.
The way they introduce Hacker Man as well. And how he's just like, yeah, I can hack you back in time. I can totally do that.
Even has like power gloves as well to just help him hack somehow.
Yeah. The fight scenes were actually quite nice. It was very arcadey.
Are you talking about the scene where he gets into Germany and then
that's right. The one where he goes back into time and he has to defeat hordes of Nazis.
It was done like a side-scrolling beat 'em up too, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was done quite nicely. Yeah.
The guys in the background, they were just looping their animation.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, this movie is all about the little things, the details, the nice touches, including the looping in the background. It's like, yes, we are a low-budget movie. Take this, because ha ha ha, we are so self-aware. Meta humor. Look at the Triceratops. Yeah.
What? Okay, speaking of Triceratops, what did you think of Triceratops?
The credits misdirected me to believe that he was going to play a much more important role, but I mean, he was quite interesting, I suppose. Is he supposed to be like a British gentleman, such Triceratops?
Of course, that's the only way to really portray Triceratops.
Right. You don't want to wrongly appropriate them as something different.
Yeah, well, he did play a big role in the final act where he just teamed up with every known character that has
and started shooting Nazi balls for no reason.
And then Hitler, Kung Fuhrer himself, was like, "Fuck you, Kung Fury," and then the eagle comes to life or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
T-Rex. And the Gatling gun in the podium.
Yeah, somehow there's a T-Rex involved, which he traveled back in time.
Mm-hmm.
To get, and there are Vikings riding T-Rexes, and
right.
Thor,
and then they summon Thor.
I don't really like the Thor in this. I'm sorry to say.
No, you much rather have Chris Hemsworth make an appearance.
Exactly. That would have been such a treat if somehow Chris Hemsworth was
playing an 80s Thor.
Exactly.
That would have been nice, but seeing as the budget was like $600,000. But yeah, Kung Fury is, honestly, I don't think it's anything amazing necessarily, but I do think it's refreshing to see, especially in this day and age, because nobody's going to want to make these kind of boo movies again, except for maybe Tim and Eric, or people who like Tim and Eric.
I have no idea what that is.
Really? Tim and Eric?
Yeah. What is that?
You have not lived yet. I just urge you to, and to listeners as well who have not heard of Tim and Eric, to YouTube I Want to Meet That Dad on YouTube.
I Want to Be Bat Dad?
Oh, I should probably enunciate. I Want to Meet That Dad. As in, I want to meet that dad.
What's it about?
I can't. That would telling you would be not as fun, and it wouldn't be playing fair. You just have to go into it without knowing anything about it, and come out enlightened, and promise yourself that you will never ever look back on how your life was before Tim and Eric.
All right, we got another recommendation from Mandy here. Yeah. Tim and Eric.
That's right. So there really isn't much to be said about Kung Fury aside from how it's absurd and 80s and, very culty.
What's interesting is that even though I don't really like the entirety of Kung Fury, I thought it was way better than the movies I've seen recently. Example, Tomorrowland and San Andreas. You should just see Kung Fury instead of those movies.
It's a lot. It's a lot more genuine to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the Tomorrowland and San Andreas are clearly trying to be something that they're not, and like obviously that's also what Kung Fury has basically been doing. But there is an ounce of sincerity in Kung Fury and what they're trying to do,
I
and I
think
think it
Kung
resonates with
Fury.
people from the '80s.
I think Kung Fury has way more fun, like twice the amount of fun as any of those movies combined.
Yeah,
Because it was just so, it was so true to whatever.
whatever it was trying to honor or worship, right?
Yeah, it's a love letter to like '80s cop movies and
Exactly.
kung fu movies.
Yeah, and there's nothing really to think about. You just watch it and you enjoy it. You have fun for 30 minutes, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's good.
And that is the aspect that I can recommend. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend that you see it, but not with any expectation that it's going to be a movie in the proper sense of the word.
It's a YouTube video, basically.
Yeah. Well, it is in a way a work of art.
It does
Some
look
people
very
would
pretty.
say a masterpiece, but yes, it is. It's quite absurd. I feel like I've said that quite a lot of times, but
Yeah, you did.
it is quite absurd because there really isn't any other word for it.
And it also sets itself for a sequel down the line, if that ever happens.
Yeah, with the little twist at the end.
Yeah.
I just realized we've been doing a non-spoilery review, and I just told people that if they haven't seen it, they should go see it.
Well, maybe they've been listening to this podcast and
Maybe that's right.
they just love us
We
so much.
We definitely have some people who like torturing themselves with spoilers.
Yeah, those people are weird.
Yeah, shame on you.
Shame
But
on
just
you.
go see it if you haven't seen it. Just highly unlikely.
Oh, did we ever mention that this movie is free to view?
Yeah, that's also quite a redeeming feature. The fact that it is a Kickstarter movie. So I feel as though there is no like pretense for this movie. It's just sort of what it is. It was made by people who like doing what they do, and they raised money for it. So it's like a people's movie in a way.
What do you think of the soundtrack for it? It was very
Very good.
painfully 80s-esque soundtrack.
Very good. Yeah, did you feel the same with the soundtrack?
I thought it was all right. I could groove to it. I could dig it.
Well, yeah, that's all they've ever asked for is for you to groove to it. It is an '80s movie. Well, trying to be.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that this movie isn't supposed to take itself seriously, and we're trying to take it seriously as in art form.
Yeah, and that can be a little difficult to deal with when it comes to movies in general.
Yeah,
Especially movies that aren't made to be analyzed at all. There are some that you just shouldn't think about.
Yeah, basically Kung Fury is just one thing that happens after another and just kind of becomes more insane and absurd as we go along. It doesn't have any point to it.
That's absolutely correct, and that's why you should go see it.
Yeah.
Free yourself from all of this artistic bullshit that they've been showing you and feeding and shoving down your throats at the theater, and go watch this movie for free.
On YouTube. Yeah. It's like you're on YouTube right now, probably. So
Sure.
Go watch it.
If you aren't, then search up Tim and Eric. It's a very important recommendation.
Search up what Mandy says and then go watch Kung Fury.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
In no particular order, because it's your life. I forgot to mention a quick tangent. I recently watched Ex Machina. Now, do you want to talk about that another week, since we never got the chance to?
I think it's a little bit late to talk about it, but we can do it next week if you want.
Yeah, let's do that. So I definitely think that's a wrap for this week. Kung Fury and some other news. And yeah, I think, is there anything else that you want to wrap up with?
Just look forward to our review of Ex Machina.
That's right.
We'll watch Kung Fury. Go watch Mad Max.
And I think that is the end of our show. So thank you for listening.
Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you on the flip side, as Manny said last week.
That's right. Peace.
Peace.